Hello there viewers, and welcome to episode 25 of F1 Talk. And I am fully aware that you cannot see me yet again. I'm trying an experiment and I want some comments at the end of the video from you guys that are watching these videos as to whether I continue like this or whether I continue, just using this sort of video when lighting is bad. So I'll kick it off with my reviews, thoughts, talking points of the European Grand Prix that took place at the Valencia Street Circuit in Spain yesterday, and I will obviously be going over the championship standings after the talking points have concluded. So we'll kick it off with the start of the race, and it was very good start by all of the drivers, especially pole position winner Sebastian Vettel. He just launched off the starting line and no one, not even Lewis Hamilton, had an answer for him. He was shooting off into the distance, which led me to believe that Vettel was on a 3-stop strategy. He was that far ahead. Hamilton had no answer. And he was 3/10 ahead in qualifying, but he was going to be absolutely dominating. And the race was pretty straightforward. We saw a good couple of battles between Fernando Alonso and Nico Hülkenberg, also Kimi Raikkonen and Pastor Maldonado. Good action there, and we were getting a few passes, and that surprised me to begin with, because we'd seen very little passing on this track for the last couple of seasons. And Mark Webber was beginning to scythe his way through the field because he had a very bad qualifying session. He had no DRS, so he couldn't even get out of qualifying one, which left him a heck of a lot to do. But Mark gave all that he had. And in my opinion, Webber did rather well considering. So there was a bit of contact between Bruno Senna and Kamui Kobayashi. The Williams driver was found to be at fault for the incident on lap 20, and he got a drive-through penalty which he served, which put Senna to the back of the grid. So Bruno, not having the best of times in Formula 1, he's consistently getting outshone by his teammate from Venezuela, Pastor Maldonado. And do we actually think that Bruno's going to climb out from the shadow of Maldonado? Only time will tell. But all was, we had a couple of passes, but the race was beginning to settle down, and Vettel was beginning to pull away, and it was going to be another normal Vettel domination, especially at Valencia, which he has won the past 2 seasons. And then the safety car was deployed on lap 29, which led a lot of teams coming into the pits because of the new rules that were introduced, I think last year, that teams could come into the pits as soon as the safety car was deployed. They didn't have to wait for the pit lane to be open. And the safety car came out. A lot of teams came in, a lot of drivers came in to change tyres, including the McLaren of Lewis Hamilton, which yet again had some problems during a stop. The front jack failed. They got some sort of weird system on the front jack. They just haven't got a normal front jack. They've got a front jack that actually makes lifting the car a tiny bit quicker. And in Formula 1, fractions of a second are absolutely everything. Now, it failed, cost Lewis Hamilton big time in the pits, because when he came out, he was behind the Lotus of Romain Grosjean. And, Grosjean passed him outside. Beautiful move once the safety car had come in. But that wasn't the only bit of drama. As you can see there from the image of Red Bull's Adrian Newey, Sebastian Vettel's alternator failed on the car. And this left the race wide open. Vettel was absolutely dominant. The safety car had just gone in and Vettel had failed the next lap. Sebastian Vettel failed to finish the race, and this gave Fernando Alonso the lead in the Grand Prix. And considering that Alonso had started 11th, magnificent strategy by Ferrari to bring him in the second the safety car came out, which was what happened. A bit of luck with Lewis Hamilton having the pit stop problems. Hamilton actually got out ahead of Grosjean, but Grosjean did actually pass him out on track after Vettel had scored his DNF. But the lead was handed to Alonso, and as you can see there, the Red Bull team were absolutely devastated. So this left Alonso in the lead and Romain Grosjean in second place. Now Grosjean was doing rather well, beginning to catch up to the Spaniard, and we were all thinking we're going to get 8 different winners from 7 different constructors this year. The trend was going to continue. That was until the alternator failed on Grosjean's car. Now, you look at both cars that failed, especially the alternator there, and you see that both cars are supplied by Renault power. They got Renault engines. So a little bit for Renault to think about there. But Lewis Hamilton's problems didn't actually finish there. What happened next was the mere fact that Kimi Raikkonen in the sister Lotus managed to pass him as well, mainly due to problems with tyre management, which Lewis hasn't been the best at in the past, and those demons were coming back to haunt him again. So Lewis Hamilton was down to 3rd place. In 4th place was the Williams of Pastor Maldonado, who was quite frankly, beginning to show some of the pace that he had back in Spain. The battle between Raikkonen and Alonso was beginning to heat up, as well as this battle, as you can see here from this image, between Hamilton and Maldonado. Now, they had a coming together at Monaco last year, and there seems to be some residual effects from that particular incident, as on lap 56 out of 57 they had 1 to go. There was a big shunt between the 2 drivers. If you're an F1 fan and you watch these videos that I do, you would have seen the race, you would have seen the incident, and it led to what we see in this particular image. Lewis Hamilton throws his steering wheel out of the car in anger, and Maldonado, as a result of the incident, was given a 20-second penalty. Maldonado actually finished the race without a front wing. He finished 10th, but because of the penalty he was demoted to 12th, which meant Bruno Senna, who finished 11th, was promoted to 11th and gained the promoted up to 10th and was given the final championship point from Valencia. Fernando Alonso actually went on to win the Grand Prix. He managed to work out enough of a lead to leave him in a comfortable spot ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in second, and it was rather emotional for Alonso. He stopped out on track, thank the Spanish fans, and it was out there for a good couple of minutes before a car actually came to pick Fernando up and took him to the podium, because he stopped out on track due to some sort of problem. And it wasn't the fuel, it was a genuine problem. We all thought, was the victory going to be valid, like Lewis Hamilton's pole position a few races back? But it was still valid, and Alonso made it to the podium. It was a good win for Fernando. Lewis Hamilton failed to score, Sebastian Vettel had failed to score, and it gives him quite an advantage going into the next few races of the championship. I'll go over the point standings in a few moments' time. Fernando's win was big news, but in my personal opinion, the biggest news of the day was the return to the podium of this man, Michael Schumacher of Mercedes. After 99 races, Schumacher ends his podium drought. He's been very unlucky this season, and Lady Luck returns to the German, and he gets the third place. Well played, Mercedes. Great pit strategy again, and he passed Hamilton. Eventually, and the Mercedes under Schumacher obviously was looking like rather a competitive car. If you'd given him maybe 10 more laps, he might have won the race. But it was good to see Michael on the podium again. There was some discrepancy over an incident involving Schumacher where the yellow flags are waving due to the Hamilton and Maldonado incident, that he had used his DRS, or the DRS flap was open. This was unfounded, so to speak, and he kept his third position. So basically what we're talking about now is the race results. I'll give you the top 10. Alonso wins, Raikkonen second, Schumacher third. Mark Webber scores a brilliant fourth place considering he started 17th on the grid. Nico Hulkenberg fifth, Rosberg sixth in the sister Mercedes. Then Paul di Resta, who was on a one-stop strategy. Both Force Indias had problems with rear brake temperature to brake slightly earlier than everybody else. To cool the brakes and try and save the car. Jenson Button finally scores some more points, but he finished in 8th, so not that many. Sergio Perez in the Sauber finished 9th, and Bruno Senna, because of Maldonado's penalty, scored 1 point for Williams and finishes in 10th. So now we go on to the Drivers' Championship standings. First, Fernando Alonso with who got to 25 points, obviously. He's on 111. Mark Webber, who's sort of becoming Mr. Consistency, is second in the championship with 91. So a good 20-point advantage for Fernando at the moment. Lewis Hamilton, who didn't score, 88. Vettel, who didn't score, 85. Nico Rosberg on 75, Kimi Raikkonen on 73, Grosjean on 53, failed to score, really unlucky. Jenson Button scores 4 points. He's currently on 49. Sergio Perez on 39. Maldonado still stuck on 29 points. Over to the Constructors' Championship at the moment. Red Bull still top, thanks to Mark Webber on 176. Not a good weekend for McLaren. They didn't have a good weekend at all. They're in second place in the Constructors' standings on 137. Lotus third now, overtaking Ferrari because of Massa's failure to score. They're third on 126. Ferrari, despite Alonso winning the race, are fourth in the Constructors on 122. Mercedes on 92. Good weekend for them. Sauber with 60 points. They're in sixth. Williams with 1 extra point. They move up to 45. They're seventh. Force India, pretty decent weekend for them. They were competitive all weekend. They're on 44 points, and the final team with points are Toro Rosso in 9th. They've got 6 points. It is worth mentioning that Caterham had a fairly good weekend. Heikki Kovalainen qualified in 15th position, their best qualifying, and had some real bad luck, both him and Petrov. Petrov had contact with Ricciardo during the race, and if things had been slightly more in their favour, they could have got their first point. At one point, Petrov was in 10th place, but he just didn't have the pace to keep back, faster cars. And, I enjoy the underdogs of a sport winning. It's good stuff when you see that happen. But you know, they're getting better, as are Hispania. Both Hispanias out-qualified the Marussia Charles Pic. Timo Glock didn't take place in the race or qualifying due to illness, and that was, you know, a sensible decision on his part not to race. And you know, Hispania are getting better. Caterham are getting better, quite obviously. It's not going to be long before Caterham do score a point, but who will get it? Will it be Kovalainen? Will it be Petrov? Will it be this year? Only time will tell. So that's about all of, from my analysis point of view of this weekend's European Grand Prix at Valencia. As I said at the beginning of the video, I would like those of you who are watching to send me your thoughts, send me your comments, and let me know if you prefer watching videos like this, you know, where you just hear me and you see pictures explaining what's going on, or do you actually prefer seeing me physically talk about it as you have in the past. So I thank you for watching as you do each and every time, and the next race is in 2 weeks at Silverstone, so it's the British Grand Prix, big race, and I'll see you next time for more Formula 1 talk.